Now you should do this chain lube when right after you get off the bike, when the chain is still warm. That's the optimal time. I haven't done it in a couple days, so I thought I'd knock it out this morning. Also, if you have a center stand, use it. The reason I'm not is this black asphalt is very slippery, and I tried to put it on the center stand twice, and it basically just would not grab the asphalt. The bike started sliding down, so I decided not to use it. But I'm just putting a little lube on it, and maybe later on today I'll give it the actual full mod. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at one of our highlight checkpoints, points of interest. We're at the Barbers Museum, Vintage Motorsports Museum here in Birmingham, Alabama. This is kind of one of those mecca places, like the Bonneville Salt Flats and Laguna Seca. This is the largest motorcycle museum, and it doesn't particularly cater to only Harleys. It branches out to 20-something different brands of motorcycles, or actually 40, I think. There's about 500 motorcycles on display, as well as a few Lotus and exotic cars and whatnot. There's 900 motorcycles in the collection total. It's extremely hot. I'm looking forward to the air conditioning, so let's get inside. Well, I'm walking through the Barber Motorsports Museum, and I can't say the last time I've been this excited about being in the museum. Look at this. There's bikes everywhere. This is kind of one of those things that kind of bums me out that Tracy's not here to enjoy this with me, but I'm going to take a look around and check things out. I love how they have the bikes just displayed. They're just stacked up on top of each other. Just bikes everywhere, and it's every bike you can think of. You know, sport bikes and cruisers and just everything. They're beautiful. This is like holy ground, man. It's holy ground. And if you check it out, check this out. This is really cool. I'm saying, this is almost giving me a heart on. It's so cool. If you look out the window, you can actually see the speedway. Check it out. Isn't that sweet? What's really cool is that I'm here on a Sunday and they've only been open for like 20 minutes. So I'm like one of like 4 people in the entire museum, and that rocks. Display of military bikes from, some are from World War II, some from World War I. They all have the exact same olive drab green paint on them, and it's really cool to look at when you think of the history of what these guys did. Here, right here behind me, is where the Harley-Indian War of the 1920s and 40s kind of ended. You see, Harley was better at producing bikes for the U.S. Army, and the Indian kind of lagged behind. And after the war was over, the GIs returning to America had fallen in love with their Harleys and tended to buy the American or the civilian counterpart when they got home, and essentially put poor Indian out of business. The Indian name came back, I think it was in the late 90s, but it didn't really catch on and then faltered again. 90,000 of these Harleys went into production for the U.S. Army. I love the leather holster up front for the gun. I'm not sure what kind of gun that is. I don't know if that's a BAR or what, but it's very cool. Behind me are a bunch of British bikes from the 70s. These would have been called cafe racers, because in England that's what they did, is they basically had races from cafe to cafe, and they are in essence the grandfathers of the modern sport bike. The power just went out. I almost got stuck in the elevator. That would not have been cool. We're on the Japanese floor here, it looks like, and let's go. Let's see what we can see. I guess I was wrong in thinking it was the Japanese bike floor, but it's actually the 80s and beyond floor. So there's a lot of great sport bikes. This guy right here, for example. That guy. This is the Yamaha FZR 750 racing only edition. I don't remember how many were made. It may actually say on the... Oh, it actually has a production, probably. It doesn't say how many were made. But it's actually more commonly known as the OW10. This is the original Suzuki Katana. Back in the 80s, this thing was revolutionary. It was kind of radical in its design. RC30. I know it says VFR 750, but we in the free world, we call it the RC30. Very cool race bike. This guy right behind me is the original 1986 GSX-R 1100. This thing was a beast in its day. But can you imagine the thing only was rated at 90 horsepower? So it's probably 20 horsepower less than a modern day 600. This is pretty cool. Over here we've got the original 1999 Hayabusa, which was the only production bike to ever break the 186 mile an hour that was later imposed because of the power wars that Kawasaki and Suzuki were planning on having. Since then, all bikes have been regulated and limited to a British standard of 300 kilometers an hour or 186 miles an hour. This is a 1975 Norton Commando. And the thing that is most remembered about this is, well, the bike was a great bike, but what is most thought of when you think of the 850 Commando were the hot, beautiful Norton girls in the magazine advertisements. Behind me in the rack is a 2004 CBR 1000RR, which, as you guys know, I own one, so it's kind of cool. Above it, not directly above it, but one up, is a 1987 Ninja 600, which is the same bike I got my start on. This is the 1996 Britten, made by John Britten, who unfortunately passed away in 1995. But he hand-built these motorcycles, and the design at the time was radical, and still there's a lot of pieces of the bike that are just so far ahead of their time, they're just amazing. I actually saw one of these bikes in a museum in New Zealand, so it's kind of a privilege, I feel, to be able to see another one, because there are only a handful left. One of the interesting things about the Britten is that it has no frame, and I can step back and I'll give you $1 if you can show me where the frame is. In fact, the engine itself is the main supporting feature of the motorcycle. So it is the main structure, everything is bolted to the engine. It has no frame. As you can see, it has a completely different style front fork. It's a carbon fiber blade style. The steering is not conventional. As you can see, the shocks on the side there, the carbon fiber wheels are incredibly beautiful to look at. And you can even see the cantilevers for the front suspension there, and for the rear suspension they're actually in the front. The swing arm itself is also made of carbon fiber, and it's just it's a beautiful, beautiful machine. I've seen every motorcycle in this museum in some other capacity, some other time in my life. There's only one that really sticks out as I gotta see it, and that is the Honda NR750. The Honda NR750 was, I think it was made in '92, something like that, and it was about $80,000. It was an exotic play toy for the rich. The unique thing about it was it had oval pistons, and it had 8 valves per piston because of the shape of the oval allowed the room. So it almost gave the bike the feel of a V8. So over here, we're in the section of motorcycles that were known as board track racers. And what they were in the 1920s, they basically drove around in a giant circle, or as an oval, on a 45-degree angle on wood. They rode these little skinny tired motorcycles here at sometimes over 100 miles an hour, but most of the time it was about 70. I can't imagine how incredible that must have been to see, because at full speed they totally were up on the bank. They were wearing leather helmets and just cooking. Oh, I also forgot to mention that 100 miles an hour, 45-degree angle on a wooden surface on a skinny little tired bike with a leather helmet, and guess what? They had no brakes. An indication of the actual track itself. I don't know if the separation between flat and the track was that angular. I'm sure it was more curved so that they could get up, but they stopped it obviously because it was dangerous, and they kept having occasions where these bikes would fly off into the stands, and you know, you can imagine what happens then. Well guys, I'm still here at Barber's. I decided to take in a little snack because I really don't want to have to stop to eat, because I don't want to stop it off, to be honest, with the bike running the way it does. I got a cinnamon roll out of the vending machine, but I thought this was interesting. I've never had a cinnamon roll that had won any kind of award, but apparently this is the 2007 Pastry of the Year. Oh snap, I looked at it wrong. It is the 2005, 2006, 2007 Pastry of the Year. That, my friends, is a 3-time award-winning snack. It's like the New England Patriots of pastries. Well, that was my Barber's Vintage Motorsports Museum. I'm out here side. I'm outside here, and oh my God, it's hot. It is hot, hot, hot. My jacket, check this out. My jacket and gloves have been sitting here on the ground. I am totally looking forward to putting those guys on. What time it is? I'm kind of panicked. Left the bike running. I wanted to bring you Georgia. Yeah, peach country, I guess. But anyway, I'm on the side of the highway. It's kind of scary. I'm about to get killed, so I'm not gonna film much. But I just thought I'd let you know that I made it to Georgia. The movie has come to an end, sort of. I'm here at Chattanooga, Tennessee. The bike is done. It won't start, even with a fresh battery. So it's time to get a U-Haul and call this one quits. So it's been fun, and I will keep you updated on my status.